Hello, everyone. Here's a quick recording for Chapter 1. We're going to look at things like why do we communicate as human beings. The first reason is physical needs. Physical needs deals with your mental health. Okay? Think about prison. What is the worst thing they do to prisoners? They put them in isolation. They say it is so horrible. These people are killers. They have killed people. They have done many things. And they say that being in isolation is the worst thing that could possibly happen to them. It's because of physical needs. They need somebody to communicate with. It deals with their mental health. When you have nobody to talk to, you are depressed, you feel alone. That's why physical needs is that. Identity needs. This is how we find out who we are. We may think we're a good person, but not until somebody tells us we are a good person. You are fast, you are smart, you are slow, you are not smart. Basically, we put labels onto people, and this is how we find out our identity. Social needs, this is where we develop friendships, romantic partnerships. This is where we engage with other people to meet our physical needs. And then practical goals, this is how we get things in everyday interaction. So if I want to order a cheeseburger, I need to tell somebody I want a cheeseburger with pickles, lettuce, tomatoes, and all of that. This also falls under the category of instrumental goals, like how do we get a job? You have to interview, you have to fill out a resume, all of that. That is still communication, okay? The process of communication, linear. This is one-way communication. All of you can look up these definitions here. There are 7 parts of linear, so please make sure that you look them up in the book. Here is an example of the process. You can see the arrows are pointing one way because it is one-way communication. There is no feedback. We are surrounded by noise. Remember, noise is anything that distracts us. It does not have to have sound. And then the channels. How are we sending the message? Right now, I'm sending you the message using a video and using my voice. Okay? The next one is the transactional. The transactional has the same 7 as linear, but this time we add one more to make it 8, and that is environment. Environment is the actual physical location of where you are communicating. Remember, this does impact how you communicate. When you are at work, you may sound more professional. You say yes sir, no sir. But then when you go home, you speak differently. Okay? So environment is the physical location, and then it's your past experiences with that person. So, if you have a friend who is a town gossip, well, of course, you're not going to tell them anything new because of the town gossip. You know this about them, so why would you share a secret? So, environment is the physical location and your past experience with that person. That past experience could include the person's culture, personality, things like that, okay? Transactional now is known as two-way communication. So you can see in this module the arrows are pointing back and forth. That is because it is two-way. I send you a message, then you become the sender and I become the receiver, then you send me a message. It goes back and forth, back and forth. Remember, this can be done verbally and non-verbally. We still have noise, we still have channels, we still have all of that, but this time we have the environment. Interpersonal communication is just basically defined as you are engaged and you are fully listening because you care about the information. You care about what they're saying. It does not mean that you care about the person. Remember, the person, the relationship does not matter. What matters is the information. Okay? Yes, you are married, but do you always listen to what they say? All of you, your mother has told you to do something and you're like, yeah, mom, got it. And then she walks off and then you're thinking to yourself, crap, I didn't hear what she said. So even though you love your mother, you weren't engaged to the conversation. So do not put down that it is because of the relationship. It is because of the information. And what could potentially come from this? I'm listening to you because maybe one day I want to go out on a date with you. Maybe we're going to get married. Things like that. But remember, this is about the information. Impersonal is where you treat the person like an object. You're not engaged. You don't care about their feelings. You don't care about anything. You're listening because you have to. Think of a cashier. Do not use this example in the question, but a cashier. You listen because you want her to count out your change. You want to make sure the money's right. But you don't care and listen to her because you think you want to be friends. You want to, hang out. No. You listen because you care about that, and that's it. There are some features, of course. It is unique because all of us are unique. We're all different people. You're unique, I'm unique, we're different. I can't talk to every single person the same way. Some people are very sensitive and get hurt really fast. Others, they can joke around and take a punchline. Different people, different situations. If I'm delivering bad news to you, I'm not going to jokingly deliver it. I'm going to be serious, okay? Irreplaceability, you cannot replace that with anything else. Remember, physical needs, it's our mental health. We need other people to communicate with. So we need that. We cannot replace that with anything. Okay? Interdependence, remember, we communicate with each other depending on how the person engages. Emotions are contagious. If you come to me angry and upset, I'm going to react to you that way and probably communicate back in that same manner. So it's interdependent, your mood. If you come up to me rude, I'm going to be rude back. If you're going to come up to me and be pleasant and polite, I'm going to return that, okay? Disclosure, this is just where we share information. We share this freely. It is not commonly known by others. And it must be significant to you. So this is how we build those relationships. Social needs, okay? And then intrinsic rewards. Intrinsic rewards are what do you get out of the relationship? Companionship, trust, loyalty. These are things that you cannot put a dollar bill value on it. Okay, having a friend, just having you in my life is the reward. You make me laugh. You make me giggle. Or you make me feel better about myself because your life is so screwed up. Mine doesn't look as bad. That's a reward. We have some principles. Remember, communication can be intentional or unintentional. There are some things that we do intentionally, some things we don't. For some of us, we talk politely at work. That's intentional. We say yes, sir, no, sir. All the other times we do whatever. Unintentional. Some of you talk with your hands. You move around. It's different. You don't think about it. Breathing. We do not think before we take a breath of air. It just happens. It is impossible not to communicate, remember, because of body language. Not all communication is done verbally. So the way you sit, the way you move, your posture, facial expressions, you are always sending out a message. Even when you're dead, you're saying, I'm dead, leave me alone. Communication is unrepeatable. You cannot relive the moment. The first time you hear somebody say, I love you, it's never the same again. Okay? Irreversible. You can't take it back. How many of you said the wrong thing at the wrong time? You can't take it back. My friend had an ugly baby. I call them Franken babies. She didn't warn me and she held the baby up and went, ew. And then I had to play it off like, oh, sorry, I was coughing. No, I couldn't take it back. She hates me. We're no longer friends. It's her fault. She has an ugly baby. Now here is where we differ. Remember, up to this point, everything that I have talked about, men and women, we're similar. We all have this. We all have those 4 needs. We all have these principles. We all have these features. Here is where we are different. Okay? Content and relational dimension. Men and women do have these, but one gender has it more than the other. So men tend to be more content dimension. Women tend to be more relational. So content where we explicitly give facts. What happened? Things like that. Women use more relational dimension because emotions are a very big part of who they are. Men still do this, but not to the same level as women. So women express how they feel. They use more emotional words. Okay? You don't believe me? Ask a man and a woman about their wedding day. A man's going to tell you, we got married on this day, we had cake, we're done. A woman starts the same story, but she starts out with, "It was the happiest day of my life," because she's going to share more of that relational motion. Okay? Here are some misconceptions. More communication is not always better. There is a time and place to just shut up. Yes, officer. Yes, your honor. If anybody tells you you have the right to remain silent, you should take them up on that. Because there's nothing more you can say. Meaning is not in the words, remember? Actions speak louder than words for some people. You do not always have to have a shared understanding to have successful communication. You can agree to disagree. For you, this may be the best solution, but for me, it's not. But I can understand for you, that's a good thing, okay? And remember, communication will not solve everything. I think you should give it a chance, but sometimes it doesn't solve. There are people out there who are more stubborn and bullheaded than you. You just haven't met them yet, and one day you will. Now, this next term is a thing you guys need to remember. The overall goal of life in this class is to make you communication incompetent. Communication competence is what we should all strive for. It's communicating both effectively and appropriately depending on the person and the situation. Okay? Again, it's unique. Remember, everybody's different. One person can take hard news, another person will fall apart and cry. So remember that there's no ideal way to communicate. You need to develop many variety ways to communicate. I think if you've worked customer service, you've done this because you have good customers, you have bad customers, you have the customers you love, you have the ones you would love to hit with a car. All of these things because it's different. Everybody's different. So you need to develop a strategy for every situation. And like I said, it's situational and you can learn to communicate. Experience gives you that. All right? Remember, you need to have a wide range. What do I say? Like wide. A wide range of behaviors. You need to be able to choose the appropriate behavior for the appropriate situation. You need to have a skill at performing them. Make them look genuine, authentic. Most of us can tell when somebody is just, blowing smoke up our butt. Think about it when somebody has said, "I'm sorry," and you can tell they didn't mean it. Cognitive complexity. Cognitive, remember, always deals with the brain. So with this just means you're able to look at things from many different points of view. Again, we can agree to disagree. We don't have to have a shared understanding, but we can still get along. We can still be friends, okay? Empathy, you show empathy. Now remember, if you are at all this stage where you have cognitive complexity, empathy, self-monitoring, it's because you are engaged in interpersonal communication. So empathy is being able to look at things from their point of views and feel compassion. You may have never experienced it, but you can still understand how it's a horrible thing to go through, okay? Self-monitoring, so this is how you check yourself. Make sure you don't say stuff. Behave. I do this when somebody asks me a stupid question. I take a deep breath of air because that stops me from saying the very first thing that pops in my head. And it has saved me from getting my butt kicked once or 5 or 20 times. So I take a breath of air. So now you know if you ever ask me a stupid question and I take a breath of air, it's because I'm thinking something bad. Okay? And it's a big commitment. It's hard. There's times when you want to say something to somebody and you can't because it's either not your place or they won't care. So, think about a customer who's yelling at you, blaming you for everything. You just want to say, "Look, I don't care. You're the idiot who bought it." But you can't do that because you need to keep your job because we can't win the lottery. So it's commitment. It's hard work. Remember, though, we live in cold cultures, so different communications apply to things. Culture will impact everything in this class. Culture is a very big part of how we communicate. I am Hispanic. It is called machismo, the overinflated male ego. I can never admit I'm wrong. I can never show emotion. So when you're communicating with people like me, you need to realize that is a cultural thing. It is a sign of weakness. I'm never going to do it. Even though I know I'm supposed to ask for help, even though I know better, I won't do it. Okay? And the last thing I want you guys to think about is motivation. What is your motivation for talking to this person? Is it to conduct business? Because if so, then this is revenue, this is money, income. If you're a nurse, your motivation is to talk to somebody to help them to develop a diagnosis to get them the best care. My motivation to talk to you all is to educate you, to get you guys to be better communicators, to be aware of these things. So that's my motivation. And then remember, for ambiguity, I hate that word tolerance, but remember, different things mean different things to different people. Okay? Open mindedness. Remember, what's best for them may not be best for you, but you can still be supportive, you can still be encouraging. And then knowledge and skill. Remember, you can become a better communicator. It takes time, it takes effort. First thing, of course, is listen, shut up. For some of you, it's very hard. For some of you, you have to give your opinion. Sometimes they don't want your opinion, they just want to vent. So shut up. Remember, there are things you can do like passive observation, watch how other people interact. How does other people deal with angry customers? Maybe you can use that. Active strategies, do that. You see somebody dealing with people, then you use that. You mimic it yourself. Okay? And then self disclosure. If you don't understand something, ask them. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? So, this is the first chapter. This is the first recording. I know it's a little bit long, but this chapter was long. Please make sure you do read the chapter. Do not just listen to the lectures and expect to get all the answers here, okay? Please make sure you read. All right, thank you.